Welcome to Enlightened Evolution.
I'm Cay.
And I'm Christina.
We're here to discuss the ebb and flow of our soul's healing and transformation through self-reflection, choosing intentionally, honoring thyself, and following your inner guide.
Thank you for joining this safe space with us.
Good morning and welcome back to Enlightened Evolution with Cay and Christina. This week we are talking about dreams. I can't believe it's taken us almost a year to get to this topic because I actually love talking about my dreams. I message you all the time like, I had this dream last night, blah, blah, blah.
I know I'm interested in what you're going to talk about today because there's been so many that you've told me about.
Yeah, dreams. And I'll say every psychic I've ever seen has told me, she's like, you have very prolific dreams. A lot of times you receive messages in your dreams. A lot of times your dreams come true. And that's absolutely true. Do you dream every night? Like, do you wake up remembering your dreams?
Not every single night, but a lot of times. And my dreams, I've only had a couple that were very significant and meaningful, I felt like, but well, I guess all dreams are meaningful for some reason or another, but a lot of times they are all over the place.
Mm-hmm. There's many different types of dreams, and there's actually something that I've only recently started learning about. I gotta find where it is in my notes. Lucid dreaming.
Oh, I feel like I do that more than anything. Where I know
It's
that
something
and I can
like you
control.
know that you're asleep,
Yeah, I
but
know
you're
that
in your dream.
and I can control what I'm doing while I'm dreaming.
So I have a reoccurring thing, and I've seen a lot of people share about it on social media. Anytime there's a phone in my dream, I can never dial the number that I need. Like, it'll keep misdialing. Like, I'll know
Really?
in my head. Yeah, it's weird. It's so weird. And I wonder, I swear I'm lucid dreaming at that point.
So you know that you're doing it?
Yeah. There is this theory that if you are lucid dreaming, so you suddenly become aware that you're in a dream, that you are well, I don't know, suppose is the right idea because it is a little creepy. That if you ask the people in your dream what is the date and time, they will
Ooh.
start to, they will start to kind of get angry with you and try to deter you from asking that question. They'll be like, don't worry about it, or they won't give you the answer. And now, so I had this happen in a dream, and I don't know, is it because I heard that, I heard it on a podcast somewhere, but that many people have shared this experience. But I'm also like, okay, is this my subconscious just making this happen? Because I heard that that's what's supposed to happen. But I will say, when I did this in a dream, so I have many different dream types. I have a lot of location dreams where I'll be somewhere that I've never been before, but I'll continue to visit that place multiple, and not even nights in a row, but just I'll go there often in my dreams. And there was one where is this place I kept going, kind of a cobblestone road, kind of looked like Italy. And I was walking down the street and there was people all around me. And I asked the person next to me, what date is it? Because at that point in my dream, I knew I was dreaming. And they just looked at me and they have this deep, kind of scary stare of you're not supposed to ask that here, basically. And they all just kept looking at me like, don't ask that. And in my dream, I was like, what date is it? I was oppositional in my dream. And it just the energy kept ramping up. And eventually I just woke up from it. But have you ever experienced anything like that?
No, but well, I remember being in a dream and I'm trying to talk, have a conversation with somebody, but it's it was creepy in the sense that their eyes were have you ever heard of the terminology NPCs?
Yeah. Non-player characters.
Yeah. And so it felt like that, but like their eyes were very strange. So they felt like non-player characters and they wouldn't respond to me when I talked to them.
Mm.
Like it was like I was invisible.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had that before.
Ooh,
That I've had
that
before and
reminded.
it was more it was like in the middle of the store, like it's always in the middle of the store and they always have like suits on.
Oh, when is the youngest that you remember like dreaming? Like I remember as a kid, I've always had very vivid. I wake up from my dreams almost every night feeling very affected by them, as far as like, oh, that was a message I received. And I remember that since a young age. I would be like, Mom, I dreamt about snakes last night. And I would just tell her my dreams. And my mom, as much as she wants to be conservative, she's very much a witch and she just doesn't want to admit it. We had
That's
dream
funny.
books as a kid, and she would go and she would pull out the dream book and she would tell me, okay, let's flip to this page. This is what dreaming of snakes means. So did you like did is that something you experienced as a young kid, or when do you like remember
I remember
caring about
having
your dreams?
very strange dreams as a kid, like nightmarish like dreams, like with creatures
Mm.
that aren't even real. Like I remember from a very young age having dreams like that. But I remember like in my early teenage years, probably like preteen too, when the internet started being a big thing, it's probably still on there, dreammoods.com. And you can look up anything. Like any like reasons that your teeth is falling out, your hair is falling out, a reason that you saw like a white bird. It's like they probably have a reason that why you saw everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also had several dreams of like flying and falling. And in those moments,
Yeah.
like when I would become absolutely terrified in my dream, I 100% knew that I was dreaming, that I was going to be okay. And then I would just start floating instead of like
Mm.
falling. Yeah. And it would always be over the old neighborhood I grew up at. Like my parents still live
That's
there.
crazy. No, listen, as a kid, I would have reoccurring flying dreams in my neighborhood. I have an
Yeah.
obsession with David Bowie. One time I was flying with David Bowie, but
It's so funny.
I I know. I had this dream one time as a kid where I like lifted up out of my body. I saw my body laying in my bed in my
Oh my
bedroom. Lights
god.
were off. It was exactly as I was sleeping. I flew around the neighborhood. Then I came back to my body, saw my body, the position, everything where my pillows were, and then went back into my body. And when I woke up, everything was exactly as I had saw it. Like I
That's
was laying in the
crazy.
same position. Yeah. That's wild. So you had flying
Yeah.
dreams around your knee. What is that? What is that about?
I don't
I
know. I
wonder if
haven't
other
looked it
people
up
have
though.
done that.
I haven't had one in a really long time, but it was always like I was like flying and falling uncontrollably like through the sky around my neighborhood. And once I like was like, no, like I'm dreaming, I'm not afraid. Then I would just like start like floating like I was on like a wave. Like it was like safety. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay, so I do have this in my notes. It says it brought up some like common themes in dreaming, so this must be common. Dreaming of flying or falling suggests freedom, control, or the desire to escape. Oh, that makes
Mm.
sense for me.
Mhm.
Falling often reflects a sense of insecurity or fear of losing control.
Oh, that makes
Wow.
perfect sense.
I very much wanted to escape my house as a kid. Like I
Mhm.
daydreamed about running away and I did run away. So that makes perfect sense.
Mhm. What about teeth falling out? Did they have that
Wow.
on there?
Yes. And
Because
that
'Cause I've
is a
had that.
reoccurring thing. So this one is interesting to me because I grind my teeth at night. And
Mhm.
I will find that when I do have dreams about my teeth falling out, I'll wake up and my jaw is just clenched and I know that I've been grinding my teeth. So it
Yeah.
does say that dreaming of your teeth falling out symbolizes anxiety, self image issues, or fear of aging. And I think, like
Mm.
with anxiety, that when my anxiety is high, that is when I tend to grind my teeth more, which I guess, that kind of what you're doing physically kind of comes into your dream, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Because I grind my teeth too, and I know it's an anxiety thing.
Yeah. I know my dentist was like, well, you grind your teeth at night and that's really what's messing up your teeth. And the only fix for that is like to de-stress. And I was like, okay, I'll just de-stress. I'll just do that. Like, no shit.
Oh my god.
So I have had a lot of prolific dreams or prophetic dreams. So where you dream something and then it actually comes true.
Mhm.
And I think having that experience, it makes me question every dream. So when I do have a dream of a future event, I'm like, okay, is this something that's going to come true? I think I've really started in my more recent years, started to learn discernment from my dreams of when it's just a message and when it's something I need to actually watch out for. But there is a super thin line.
Yeah.
Some dreams that I've had that have come true when I was in my first leadership position. I had to run my first like super big meeting. There was like going to be 100 people there. I was super nervous about it in real life. And it was going in a auditorium where I really hadn't used the technology before. And I did go there the day before and like practice with it. So I knew like what to do. But that night I had a dream that the computer like would not share and everyone was just looking at me and I was like scrambling to like figure out what to do next. And so that next morning, because of that dream, I like printed out all my slides and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have these as backup in case something goes down. And then literally exactly what happened in my dream happened during that meeting. The computer stopped sharing. No one could see like the projector or whatever. And I was like, that's all right. I prepared for this.
Oh
Like
my
I've got my
gosh, that's
slides here. We're gonna
amazing.
keep it going.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
it
that's
was
amazing.
crazy. Crazy.
That is crazy.
Another one I've had is probably a couple nights before Jordan and I's wedding. I had a dream that I showed up like to walk down the aisle and there was a bunch of people there that I did not invite to our wedding. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, in my dream, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I only made a reservation for this many people. Like I have to call, like I'm like stressing out in my dream because like, okay, I got to scramble and like figure out how to feed these people. And are they going to be able to accommodate us at the restaurant and blah, blah, blah. And in my dream, it was my mom who invited these extra people. And lo and behold, a couple days later, my mom invited people that I did not invite to my wedding. And and I was like, I literally just dreamed this. And I told Jordan about my dream when I had it. And I
Mhm.
told him I was stressed and I told him I was worried that this was, something my mom was going to do something irrational. And he's like, no, don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. And then it happened. And when it happened, I was like, Jordan, this is what I dreamed about. But luckily we caught it. We caught it before, like I didn't show up, and that's only because my cousin texted me and was like, hey, what do I wear tomorrow? But had he not texted me that, my family possibly would have showed up. And not that I didn't want them there. Like I love them. But I've mentioned this before, like if I start inviting people, then Jordan would invite his family and
Yeah.
then it grows to this huge wedding that we didn't want. And so luckily it got stopped before it was the actual day of. But
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I
what about
remember
you?
that.
Have you had any
The
prophetic
only
dreams?
I don't know if that's a no. I wouldn't say not to that extent that I haven't, but probably the craziest dream that I've ever had, and it's kind of heavy. So if anybody is sensitive to talking about suicide, then you'll probably just want to skip this part. But probably when I was like 18, 19 years old, I dated this guy and we had our differences. We were young. I left him. We broke up. Probably like 5 years later, During that 5 years, like, he would hit me up sometimes, just ask how I was doing. So that wasn't really out of the norm for that to happen, but the last time he had hit me up to ask me how I was doing, I was pregnant with my daughter, and I was like, "Hey, I'm in a relationship, I'm gonna have a baby. We can't really be talking, like, privately."
Mm-hmm.
And so he didn't, like, argue it or anything, but the very next day, he committed suicide. And so I'd always felt,
Mm.
like, tremendously guilty about that. And, like, he needed somebody, I wasn't there for him, everything. So the time probably for about a year after that, I just felt like this overwhelmingly, like his, like, presence was still there, like, his spirit was very, very sad, and it was, like, always, like, follow me around, just very, like, attached to me. And I knew that he didn't have, like, any spiritual beliefs himself, and he didn't, like, believe in God or anything like that. And so at the time, I was talking to one of my aunts and I'm like, "What, like, this is going on, like, I don't know what to do." She's like, "Well, I'm Catholic, and Catholicism, we believe, like, sometimes people can stay in purgatory where they're basically stuck in this realm of, like, in between, like, earth and heaven." And I'm like, "Okay, like, I'll just pray for him to, like, come out of the space." So I did that for a while, and I had this very, very vivid dream one night, and there was, some dreams are, like, really weird and, like, obscure, like, it wasn't like that at all. I was sitting next to him on this couch of, like, this place that we used to hang out at, and he was just, like, so full of joy and at peace, and he told me, he's like, "Kayla, Jesus is real." And that was always, like, a debate we had when we were together, is, like, we
Mm.
didn't, I was like, "God's real," and he's like, "No, he's not," because he's, like, an atheist or whatever. So just for in that
Mm-hmm.
dream, like, that's what he told me, that, like, Jesus is real, and I'm like, I just remember just, like, sitting there and listening to him and holding his hand, and it was just like this such a, like, a peaceful moment. And by that time, my
Mm-hmm.
daughter was probably, like, 1 years old, so probably, like, a year later, and I remember, like, after this dream, like, the image of the dream, like, it, like, slowly faded away, and as I opened my eyes, his image was, like, standing, like, on the other side of my room by my door, and he, like, slowly disappeared. And
Oh, wow.
I never felt his spirit again. I knew that, like, he had met me in my dream, and he told me, uh, basically, like, he finally found God, and he's moving along, and he wasn't, like, stuck in between anymore, and I no longer felt, like, sad or depressed or, like, this agonizing, like, worry about him. I was able to, like, let go of that guilt, like, not being able to, like, be there for him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the craziest dream experience that I've had. Uh
That's
And I do
intense.
it was, and I appreciated that experience, but during that time, it was like, that was crazy. That was a crazy experience for sure, 'cause that was probably, like, over 10 years ago.
Yeah. That actually reminded me. I was like trying to collect all the like very meaningful dreams that I've had, and it's hard to remember them all. But that reminded me
Mhm.
of the dream I had about my dad, probably like a week ish, 2 weeks after he passed. I had a dream that I was at my parents' house where my dad passed, and I was walking out into the backyard, and all of a sudden I saw, like, we have a fire pit out there. I saw the back of my dad sitting at the fire pit, and he always loved to make fires for us. I think that's one of the reasons I love the smell of campfire. And he would always make them, and I would always be happy that he made them. And so when I saw my dad, immediately I was just like sobbing, and I walked over to him and I like turned around to see his face. And anyone that knows my dad, like, he has this chuckle. He's always laughing, and he just looked at me and he kind of like laughed at me, like, there's no reason to be sad. Like,
Mhm. Aw.
my I knew that my dad was happy he was passing, in the whatever, if that sounds cryptic. Like, I knew that, like, that was a goal of his, like, it sounds wild, but I knew that that was going to bring him comfort.
Mhm.
And so in real life, like I carried that comfort with me, knowing that like he was no longer in pain and all of that. But like when I saw him and he was just so full of joy, and he's like this is where I wanted to be. Like this, I'm happy. I'm I'm just, doing whatever I want here. Like there wasn't words exchanged between us really, but there was just this sense of like he's in this place now where he's happy and fulfilled and doing whatever he wants. And it brought me so much peace.
Aw.
Like it was wild.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I pulled up some different theories around dreams. Like scientifically, there's lots of theories, but there's no real like hard evidence of this is what dreams are. Freud and Jung, they had some theories. So Freud suggested that dreams are a way for our subconscious to express repressed desires. And then Carl Jung said that dreams were a bridge to understand our deeper selves and using like archetypes and symbols to help understand that,
Mhm.
which I would probably lean more towards that belief.
Yeah.
More modern psychological view is that dreams are a way for us to process our emotions and experiences and help us work through unresolved issues or stress, which I 100% can see that. Like I often have dreams where there's an issue in my dream and it's actually something that I'm also experiencing an issue in my real life. And so it kind of brings it to, for me, I feel like a lot of times my dreams bring to light what is really stressing me out. So like maybe I'll be stressed, but I don't know why. And then I'll
Yeah.
dream and something will pop up and I'm like, oh, I need to address that. I need to work through that.
Yeah. The one of the most you ever have just weird dreams though that mean
That are
nothing?
like completely obscure. Every once in a while, yeah. I'm like, oh, that was just weird.
Yeah,
But I would say most of
recently
the time they're pretty meaningful.
are they yeah, recently I just had this crazy one where it was like I'm at this I'm at this house and my cousin's there and she's but like a younger version of herself. And she's sitting with this guy and she like hurt her hand and he's like got this first aid kit out in the bathroom and he's like helping her with her hand and I'm like okay and I kind of but in my dream I was like dating this guy but I didn't know him
Mm.
and so but it didn't feel like weird and we're at this guy's house and I'm in another bathroom and I'm finding like all these toothbrushes of like people that he dated in the past. And I'm, like, getting rid of all
Okay.
these I'm, like, getting rid of all these toothbrushes. I'm like, "Why the fuck does he having all these toothbrushes?" And in my mind, I remember in the dream in my mind, I'm like, "I'm taking, like, way too long. He's gonna wonder, like, what the fuck I'm doing gone, for so long." And in that moment, he, like, started screaming my name, like, "Where are you at? Come here." And so, like, I had to hide all these toothbrushes that I, like, collected because I was like, I didn't know like, I didn't have a plan. Like, I didn't know what I was gonna do with them. And I remember throwing them in a shoe in the closet in his bathroom. So, I don't know, maybe he's still missing a shoe, but so, like, I go,
You
and that
don't
was
see
pretty
any
much
symbolism in that?
for sure, especially after just talking about, like, the dating, but it was strange, like, why is my cousin there? Why is it when she's a kid? Like, she's
Yeah.
in her 30s now, and it's a guy I
Mm.
don't know, and he's, like, helping her, but I remember thinking in my dream that this guy's, like, really whiny and needy. Why can't you just handle this kid's, like, cut arm, like, on your by yourself? Like, it wasn't that bad, she wasn't, like,
Mhm.
dying, but it was yeah, that was nuts. That was so weird.
That was really interesting.
These hoes ain't loyal. That's what I'm thinking
All the
of.
toothbrushes, right?
Yeah, all of them. I mean, but, like, it was, like, a ridiculous amount of toothbrushes. It was so strange, just, like, the things that our minds come up with, there's just, like, so many different things
I
that
know.
whole aspect of that whole there was, like, carpet in the bathroom, like, nobody does that.
Uh, that's the worst. I think my
It
mom has, like, in her house that she's selling, I think they have carpet in the bathroom. Maybe they ripped it out. I don't know.
that's so
I remember
weird.
seeing that somewhere.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Ew.
I feel like it would just trap mold and like because you step out of the shower and it gets wet and doesn't have a chance to
Yeah.
dry.
I
Have
mean,
you
and
ever
dogs
have
pee
you
all
ever
over the
tried
place.
to right, yeah, don't, oh, ugh. Have you ever tried keeping a dream journal?
I have, but it was just, you know, maybe I'll try to do that again, actually. That's a good idea.
There's
I wasn't
I
successful with
had
it in the past, but a while
yeah.
ago, like, I was smoking weed for quite a long time, and I haven't for, like, a month now, and smoking weed suppresses my dreams, like, tremendously. I will never ever dream, but now that I haven't been smoking, my dreams have been coming, like, back quite a bit. Like, that weird one I just told you about, that was recent. Like, what the fuck was that?
I realized that I did start to keep notes in my phone of interesting dreams. I totally forgot about this one. A few years back, and this was years ago, I had a dream about my first husband. And then later in that day, his other ex wife messaged me to tell me that she had been talking to their son about his dad being married to me. And I was like, oh, that's like so, like her and I don't talk rarely
Mhm.
ever. Like we have each other on social media, but it was just random. Like that next day, she reached out to tell me that she had talked with her son
Interesting.
about. I know. And so I will say, a lot of times I have dreams about people maybe having some sort of issue. Like I have a dream about someone being sick and I'll reach out to them. Maybe it's someone I haven't talked to in a long time. And I'll be like, hey, I know this is super random, but I had a dream about you being sick. Are you okay? And they'll actually be like, oh, yeah, I'm actually just found out blah, blah, blah from the doctor.
Mhm.
So I know that for myself, my psychic ability is a lot in my dreams, but just like other psychics, like we've talked with, like Krista, like there's that line where like even though you're out in public and you get a message from someone's ancestor or something, like you don't typically like reach out to them and be like, hey, I know this is weird, but I just got this message for you. Cause like I think the kind of like golden rule is like you're supposed to let people come to you and ask for the message. So
Yeah.
I feel kind of weird, but I feel compelled to like reach out to these people when I have a dream about them. It'll be super significant. Like I had a dream that my girlfriend was pregnant and I reached out to her and she actually let me know that she had just miscarried. But
Aw.
like, should I reach out to people or should I not? Nobody's been mad about it, but I don't know.
I don't know. I guess it just depends. Like,
Depends on what the message is.
would you want people to reach out to you, you know?
I mean,
'Cause
if
it
I'm cool with them, yeah, maybe.
Right.
Not like an ex or anything, no. You can
No,
keep
no,
it
no,
to
no,
yourself.
for sure.
I don't
I do
know.
remember a dream I had about sleeping with somebody, and I never thought of them in that way until I had this random dream about sleeping with them, and then I've always wondered what it'd be like.
Hmm.
And I haven't
I
acted
feel
on
like
it,
I've,
and I haven't told them about it either.
yeah.
But that one
Dreams
I've always
are, they're
wondered.
interesting. I guess there are people that say they don't dream, and that's wild to me.
I don't if I'm, like, actively smoking weed every day, I don't dream.
That's interesting. I wonder why that is.
It suppresses your dreams. So does drinking alcohol. And I just read something the other
Mm.
day that people that are, like, alcoholics, like, severely, like, drink every day, all day. You know how when I'm sure you've taken care of patients that are going through, like, detox, and during that detox period, if they're not receiving, like, the benzos to help with their withdrawal, they start hallucinating.
Yes.
And I don't know, I found they were, like, linking that with, like, because you are, like, suppressing your dream state. And so all these
It's finally starting to come through as you detox.
Yeah, like all these neurons are starting to like snap together, I guess, because you're, not having your alcohol, but you're also like, it's severely dangerous to withdraw from
Wow.
alcohol. I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting.
Wow, I never like thought about it that way. But yeah, I've
Mhm.
absolutely had patients hallucinate as they're withdrawing.
Yeah.
Um, like I'm interested to hear how other people feel about their dreams. So definitely write into us and let us know if you've had any unique experiences. I think one of the biggest things you can do, and what I've started to do, is like when I wake up from my dreams, I'll ask myself, like, what was that? Was that prolific? Is this actually going to happen? Or was I dreaming that because I need to work through something? Like, I
Mhm.
really practice dissecting my dreams when I wake up. Poor Jordan, he doesn't remember his dreams. He'll be like, I dreamt last night, but I don't remember what it was.
I always have to lay there for a second and like
Kind of refocus
like
on
be
it or something.
yeah, like before I jump on my phone or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like remember like what just happened or sometimes even like later in the day. Like, it'll click, like, in my brain, like, all of a sudden, like, "Oh, yeah, like, I remember what I just dreamt." But I'm gonna start doing my dream journal.
That's a good idea.
I'm gonna do
I
that.
tend to keep note of, oh, I've had dreams before where like I got a raise in my dream and then like within a week or so got a raise. I have a lot of prolific dreams.
I love that.
I
I
know.
do
I love it
remember
too.
being a kid, finding, like, a bag of money in my dreams, and I remember being fucking pissed when I woke up it wasn't there.
Yeah, you like go to the spot and you're like, it's gonna be here and it's
Mm.
not.
Yeah, like, in my dream, I, like, hid it in a bag and had it, like and I remember, like, searching for it.
That's great.
Mhm.
Let's see, what else do you have on dreams?
I think that's it. I think it is good to keep the dream journal. I think it's good. Pay attention to some of them. Especially, I don't know, actually, now that I think about it, like, the last relationship I was in, I do remember having a dream about finding, like I don't know what to call it. He basically had, like, a hidden folder of, like, all the people, like, naked pictures of people he had been with, and in my dream, like, I came across that, and then, like, in real life, I started finding things on his computer of that, so I do feel like there's kinda like, where are the messages coming from? Is it, like, our subconscious because we know, or is it, like, angels sending us these messages that we like, messages that we need or what? But so certain things
I
like
think
that
it's
I
a little bit
do.
of both. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think I tend to suppress my intuition a lot. It's hard knowing things all the time because some things you don't want to know. And so I think sometimes when I do try to suppress my intuition, it'll come through in my dream and like be like,
Mhm.
listen, bitch, this is the message I had for you.
Yeah.
You're going to receive it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's good to have someone to bounce them off to. Like I voice text you sometimes about my dreams. And like maybe like the dream you explained to me where like this is so random, like I can see a lot of symbolism in that.
Mhm.
So maybe something that you're like, this is such a weird dream that I had. But I feel like for me, when I wake up, even if a dream is like super random, I'll feel this like there's a message here, there's a message here, like there's something here, even if I can't like make sense of it at first. So I think it's a good idea to like have someone to bounce it off with. Like I had this dream, it just, keeps sticking out in my mind. Explain it to them and they might be able to help you decipher it.
Yeah. I don't know, I love it.
I do
I've
too. I'm
asked
so thankful for my dreams.
I've heard of people, like, asking too, like, "I need a message," or, "I need to receive something. Can you please send me a message, like, in a dream tonight?"
Yep, I do that too. I think it's a
Maybe I'll
great idea.
maybe I'll start doing that.
Yeah, see what comes through.
Sometimes we don't wanna know.
Right. Yes. All right. Well, that's all I have for us today.
Same.
All right, guys. write into us. Let us know what's going on in them. Share some stories of anything cool that's happened in your dream. We can read them on the podcast. Send us a voice note. I can figure out how to put it on the podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Rate us as well. Share us with someone you love.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.